You ever watch a grown woman in a pink bathrobe nearly set her $60,000 Tesla on fire at 2 in the morning because karma finally decided to show up? Yeah, that happened on my front lawn. I was standing on my porch, mug of black coffee in hand, watching blue sparks leap across the quiet Maplewood Street while Karen Whitmore, the self-appointed eco-sheriff of our HOA, shrieked like she'd just discovered the concept of consequences for the first time in her life. It smelled like burnt plastic and poetic justice. And let me tell you, nothing wakes you up quite like the sweet aroma of both mixing in the night air. But, let me back up a sec, because this fireworks show didn't just appear out of nowhere. For weeks, my electric bill had been creeping up like it was training for a marathon. $180, then $250, then bam, $392. Thing is, I'm a retired electrical engineer. I live alone. I practically worship the idea of unplugging things not in use. And if I so much as hear the fridge running too long, I'm on it like a cat on a laser pointer. So, when the bills started doubling and I was barely running my AC, I knew something wasn't adding up. The answer, as it turned out, was rolling up every night at 1:47 a.m. in a white Tesla Model Y, bathrobe and all, with a portable charger and enough entitlement to power a small city. Karen moved in 3 years ago, and peace in Maplewood went the way of the dodo. Imagine the kind of person who'll quote bylaws from memory while brandishing a soy latte and a ruler to check if your grass is exactly HOA height. That's her. Was she actually on the HOA board? Of course not. That would require voting. Karen never needed anyone's permission. She had moral superiority and enough stamina to exhaust the rest of us into submission. My first run-in with her was when she knocked on my door, clipboard in hand, the day after she moved in. "Hi, I'm Karen Whitmore, Sustainability Liaison for Maplewood." I just stared. "I noticed your garage lights are on pretty late. Are those LED certified?" I said, They're lights. They work." She wrote something down like she was documenting a crime scene and mumbled something about energy efficiency. I thought she was kidding. She was not. From there, I started getting the notices. "Your exterior lighting exceeds brightness limits. Your recycling bin contains non-recyclable plastics. And once, no joke, your wind chimes are creating unnecessary noise pollution." Every week, a new passive-aggressive sticky note or mailbox notice. I ignored her. I kept to myself, tinkered in my garage. That was my happy place, and Karen was just background static. But when the bills started stacking up, my patience ended. I put on my old engineer hat and ran every test you could think of: breakers, meters, unplugged everything. Still, my usage spiked for 3 hours straight every single night. That made 0 sense. So one night, I made myself a big mug of coffee and parked it by the garage window. That's when I saw her. White Tesla, headlights off, creeping in like a burglar who thinks wearing pajamas makes it okay. She slipped through the gate, glanced around, and plugged her charger straight into my outdoor outlet. You know that feeling when you realize you've been getting played and it's been right under your nose? Yeah, that. I nearly spit my coffee all over the workbench. The next morning, I cornered her while she was tending to her native eco garden. "Karen, why were you in my yard last night?" Her face did this weird dance between shock and indignation. "Excuse me? Oh, don't be dramatic. It's just a few kilowatts. The HOA covers community energy sharing. We're all supposed to help each other be sustainable. Community energy sharing, on my private wall, behind my private fence. You gotta love the logic." So I did what a rational adult does. I reported it to the HOA. They sent me a copy-paste email about resolving neighborly misunderstandings amicably. That's HOA speak for, we don't want to deal with it. Karen brought a folder full of greenwash nonsense to the next board meeting, talked about collective sustainability, and said her Tesla was progress. The president, Bill, just wanted the headache to end. They told us to work it out privately. That night, sitting in my garage, staring at wires and circuit boards, I decided if Karen wanted electricity so badly, maybe she should experience a little more of it. Not enough to hurt, never that, but maybe enough to teach a lesson. I started sketching out a voltage feedback chirper, a harmless circuit modification that'd trip a high-draw device like, say, a Tesla charger, but leave everything else untouched. In other words, poetic justice in a weatherproof box. But I'm not reckless. First, I set up a camera under the eaves, capturing every one of Karen's late-night charging sessions, complete with timestamps and clear-as-day footage. I had all the evidence I needed. But you know what? I decided to wait one more night. Let her feel safe. Let her routine settle, and like a lab rat convinced the cheese is free. That next night, I watched her on the monitor, robe, slippers, phone in hand, smug as ever. She plugged in, the charging light blinked, and my bill spiked one last time. Then it was game time. I spent the next day tightening screws, double-checking safety features, making sure nothing could go wrong. I even ran tests with my own tools. Nothing but a harmless trip. But when a Tesla tried to chug from it, well, that's a different story. That night, right on schedule, the motion alert pinged my phone. Karen glided up, looking confident as ever. She plugged in, the car chirped, the green light flashed. And then, pop! A little arc of electricity, a puff of smoke, and a sudden dash of panic. The Tesla's dash lit up red, alarms blared, and Karen's voice pierced the quiet. "You did this," she screamed at my house. I just sipped my coffee, smiled, and let the scene unfold. Neighbors came out onto their porches. Lights flicked on up and down the street. People started whispering, taking pictures, sending them into the group chat before Karen even finished her rant. The next morning, Tesla sent a technician. He took one look, shrugged, and said something Karen clearly didn't want to hear. She stormed over to my porch, red-faced, vibrating with rage. "You tampered with your outlet. You sabotaged my car." I shrugged. "You weren't authorized to use it. Maybe your Tesla doesn't like stealing power from someone who knows a little something about circuits." She threatened lawsuits. The HOA called an emergency meeting. Karen came in swinging, surrounded by her friends, the same people she used to boss around. We'll try to play peacemaker, but I was ready. I brought the camera footage, utility bills, a printout of the charger's diagnostics. I played the video, Karen sneaking in, plugging in, grinning to herself. The crowd gasped. Someone in the back muttered, "About time." Bill looked at Karen, then at me. "Karen, you were on his property without permission. This isn't a sustainability issue. It's theft." Karen tried to spin it. "It's for the good of the community." But the crowd wasn't having it. For the first time, people started laughing at her, not with her. That should have been the end. But people like Karen don't just quit. She started leaving anonymous letters on my porch, accusing me of everything from tampering with neighborhood infrastructure to threatening community values. All written in her favorite Arial narrow, bolded and underlined, just like her old memos. Then, a few days later, the county inspector showed up. "We got a complaint about illegal wiring," he said. I showed him my modifications, all up to code, all safe. He nodded, signed off, and left. I caught him smiling on the way out. "Some neighborhoods get passionate," he said. "Try pathological," I replied. But Karen wasn't just charging Teslas and writing nasty letters. A bit of digging in the HOA records, public for anyone who knows where to look, turned up something wild. She'd been running a community sustainability fund for months, collecting small donations for a solar panel project that never existed. All the money went into her account. $10 here, 20 there, nothing huge, but enough to make you shake your head. I handed the evidence to Linda, the local gossip queen, and by sundown, the whole block knew. Bill called another emergency meeting. This time, Karen didn't sit at the front. She tried to bluff it out, but the receipts were clear, donations spent on ecotherapy and Tesla charging gear. The board voted to strip her of HOA privileges and forward the evidence to county authorities. Karen left the meeting so fast, she nearly knocked over her own trophy charger. A week later, a for sale sign popped up in her yard. The morning after the moving truck rolled away, Linda raised her coffee cup across the street. "Looks like the witch is gone," she called. I laughed. Guess she finally ran out of power. The HOA, desperate to patch things up, started a real solar project and even asked me for help designing the system. I took the job, watched the new panels go up, and for the first time, Maplewood felt like a community again, neighbors waving. No more anonymous letters, no more 2 a.m. drama. A few months later, I found a letter in my mailbox. Karen's handwriting. No apology, but a few lines about moving to Arizona, volunteering for a real environmental group. She ended with, "Power can corrupt anyone, even people who think they're saving the world." Maybe I needed to be unplugged to learn that. I didn't laugh. I put it in a box labeled Lessons Learned and left it at that. Now, every morning, I pass that old outlet, and I smile. I installed a little plaque above it, nothing fancy. Private power. Respect the current. Neighbors loved it. Some even asked where they could get one for themselves. You know, sometimes the best kind of justice isn't about payback or humiliation, it's about boundaries. Protecting your peace, not letting the Karens of the world drain your energy. Because, trust me, in life, the real power isn't in the wires or the circuits. It's in knowing when to say, no more. So let me ask you this. What would you have done in my shoes? Ever had to set a boundary so hard it shocked someone into finally learning respect? Drop your story in the comments. Let's talk justice. Let's talk right and wrong. And hey, if you've ever had your own HOA horror show, I want to hear that too. Share this with anyone who needs a reminder that karma runs on 240 volts, and in this neighborhood, it never forgets to charge.